We're here with Craig Munro from Wallace Bagpipes and the Red Hot Chilli Pipers. I'd like to talk a little bit about playing in B flat, the key of B flat. The Highland bagpipe is historically set as a B flat instrument, but we don't truly play at a B flat key. So I was going to talk to Craig, and with the Red Hot Chilli Pipers, they live in the key of B flat, which is slightly flatter. Craig, would you like to open that discussion?
Yeah, well, at some point, the bagpipes many years ago would have been played in B flat, but as time's moved on, we've increased the pitch, and pipe bands today, they play somewhere in the middle of B flat and B, the key of B. So it's a lot sharper, probably for the reason that we've never really had to play with any other instruments in the past. It's always been pipes and drums and a pipe band, but it's becoming more popular now that bagpipers are starting to play with other instruments and different bands and different genres of music, and for that reason we're now trying to bring the pitch back so that you can perform with other instruments. And there's various ways of doing that. And the Red Hot Chilli Pipers, our bagpipes, like you say, that are predominantly set up in B flat all the time. We don't have any need to play at a higher pitch, and we're playing with other instruments, the keyboards and the brass section, and various different instruments, the guitars and so on. So it's very important to get that pitch correct when you're playing with other instruments. It can be quite disturbing if you're playing in your pipe band pitch, which is somewhere in between, maybe between 478 and 484 now is probably where we're at with pipe bands.
And that is like a hertz reading on, say, a bagpipe tuner. And you can, most of our modern bagpipes are going to be up at that pitch, at 476, 484 or so. So where B flat would be?
B flat would be about 466. That's the key that you're looking at. 466 for B flat, and that sits well with other instruments. And it's probably why other musicians don't favour the Highland bagpipes, because we're playing too high in pitch, and there's always a clash when you're playing together. So it's all about, when you're playing with other instruments, trying to get down to that B flat pitch, so it kind of harmonises and synchronises with the other instruments. And there's various ways of doing that, but first of all, it depends on why you're doing it. Is it a one-off event that you've been asked to perform at something, or are you now in a band that plays with other instruments and you're doing festivals and parades and things like that? So there's two different ways to look at it. If it's something that you're going to be playing in a lot in B flat, you'll still be involved in the pipe band, but you might be a performing piper as well. And if you were going to play a lot in B flat, you would want a set purely for
a second set, so you don't have to take your personal instrument apart every time you have to play a performance with this other group. Yeah. So it leaves one instrument at one pitch, and then the other one, it's an easy switch.
Well, that's it. As pipers, we kind of work our whole life to get our bagpipes set up exactly the way we want it. The worst thing you want to do is take out your reeds and put in B flat reeds, which you can actually get nowadays, or you can get drone extenders and things like that. But if you're playing a lot in B flat, you want a completely separate set up instrument.
And probably a good place to start would be to have a proper bagpipe tuner.
Yes.
So that you can read these hertz, so you know when you're at 466, because it's going to be very important to be adjusted straight to that pitch with these other concert pitched instruments.
Yep. Another thing as well is when you're at 466 and when you're playing the bagpipes and you're putting the hot air in, it gets sharper, but the other instruments actually get flatter. So if you go in at a higher pitch than 466, you're going to be getting sharper, they're going to be getting flatter, and there's going to be a discord there. So if you can go in at 466, you can allow it to creep up through the performance to maybe 468, 469, you'll still get away with that. But it is very, very important to start at that. Get yourself a tuner.
So you're going to be checking as your day goes on, your performance goes on, to make sure you haven't risen out of the pitch that you should be in. That's a good point.
Absolutely, and by doing that, you play against any one of these tuners that we have available that easily sit at 466. So what you would need to do is, regardless whether it's a one-off performance or if it's a regular performance, you'll need a B flat chanter. They're made slightly different internally, externally. The hole positions are different as well. The holes are different sizes, because when you're trying to get down to 466 from 478, 484, that's quite a gap. It's quite a distance to get down, and there are people that try and achieve it by simply lifting the reed and taping up the chanter. But you never get a true scale. So you first of all need a B flat chanter to do so. It's already manufactured to sit in that range, so it's making your life
and you can use just any standard pipe chanter reed.
Any standard pipe chanter reed will sit in B flat with a B flat chanter. Probably the most difficult thing is if you're playing on a regular basis. It's easy enough to take out your band or your solo chanter, put it in a reed protector, and then put in your B flat chanter. That's fine, it'll act the same. It's the drones that you've got to worry about, because if you go from 478 to 484 and then you take that chanter out and you put in your B flat chanter, your drones are going to tune far too high, and what's going to
off the end,
it's going to
off the end of the pins,
virtually going to fall off the top of the top of the pin. So if it is a sort of one-off performance, you can get such things as drone extenders. So they go in the top of the bush, and it just extends the tuning range.
Or the drone extenders that actually go in the reed seats and extend the drone reed out of the reed seat, flattening the sound.
Yep, you can do that. But again, for me, I don't think I'd feel comfortable taking my joint out the stock, taking out the reeds, putting them into an extender, because again, we've spent so long making sure that our reeds are taking the optimum amount of air and so on. So for me, if it's a regular thing, you would want a standalone set of B flat pipes. But if it's a one-off performance, you've got no option. That's your two things that you can do. You can do the drone extenders or on the top of the bush, or take the reed out and do so. So and there are drone reeds as well that are made specifically for B flat,
making the job very easy.
There's a lot of products out there that are making the bagpiper's life so much easier now. So it's just all about trying to experiment on how you feel you want your pipes to be set up.
In my own personal band that I hang with, I have a whole separate setup. Another instrument. It's at home right now, and it's in B flat, because the gigs come and go, and you never know when you're going to need it, and I don't want to tear my bagpipe down. But that's what I have: the B flat chanter, B flat drone reeds, and it's just a separate set that I know right now is B flat in the case.
Yep.